शून्यवाद। हरि। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। So today we are discussing on this chapter number 5th and shlok number 19th. So it is talking about the liberation and death. So we'll see the shloka first. य एव ते जिते संग तेष तेषां सम्यक्स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्माद् ब्रह्माणि ते स्थिता। Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they already situated in Brahman. Hare Krishna. Someone like to read the shloka?
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam.
भगवद गीता 5.19 इहैव तैर्जितः सर्गो येषां साम्ये स्थितं मनः निर्दोषं हि समं ब्रह्म तस्मात् ब्रह्मणि ते स्थिताः। Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here Prabhupada says people with equal vision conquer birth and death. So we'll try to understand this. People with equal vision conquer birth and death. So by attaining equanimity of mind, one can conquer birth and death. So what is this equal vision? So we need a equal vision. When he's saying we need a equal vision to conquer birth and death. So what do you mean by this equal vision? Does it mean your vision should be 6 by 6, both eyes? Or what is this equal vision? And this equal vision is required to conquer birth and death. So what is your thought of being a equal vision?
Prabhuji, being able to withstand the dualities of life in the same way, like your outlook should change and look at both the things as uh, take it in your spirit and move on. Don't get disturbed by the happiness and distress.
Yes.
Thank you,
So, but
Prabhuji.
how will develop? Do we have this quality? Is it so easy, or is it so possible
By
to
having a
have the
higher taste, by developing a higher taste, Prabhuji,
yes?
elevating yourself above the material body, then
Yeah,
you can overcome.
yeah. So it actually the statement is very simple, but whether is it so simple? So we'll just see. This purport is very important. So can someone also read this purport, and we'll go deep into it. So who can read the purport?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, I'll read the Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
please, please.
Perfect. Equanimity of mind, as mentioned above, is the sign of self-realization. Those who have actually attained to such a stage should be considered to have conquered material conditions, especially birth and death. As long as one identifies with this body, he is considered a conditioned soul. But as soon as he is elevated to the stage of equanimity through realization of self. He is liberated from conditional life. In other words, he is no longer subject to take birth in the material world, but can enter into the spiritual sky after his death. The Lord is flawless because he is without attraction or hatred. Similarly, when a living entity is without attraction or hatred, he also becomes flawless and eligible to enter into the spiritual sky. Such persons are to be considered already liberated, and their symptoms are described below. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So this equanimity is a very important equanimity state. So that means they remain the same. Equanimity means same, or you can say equal. So equal in what? Equal in both happiness and misery. So, but is it so important? And how do you think it is so simple to remain same both in the happiness where? So, see, constantly we are looking for happiness, right? But still we some most of the time we feel that we are not happy, and we are chasing happiness. We are finding or feeling ourselves that we are not in a very happy mood. So, to remain that in the state of same. So earlier, if you remember, we discussed one thing that what is happiness? What is the definition of happiness? Happiness is actually the state of mind. So whatever we are experiencing, actually we are experiencing through our mind. So one thing is this thing is very easy to understand. Ki when we say happiness is actually state of mind, some may argue ki how it is possible कि happiness is just state of mind. So there are many ways to understand this, but if we look around and we see there is something, this classification is done, right? Upper class, middle class, and lower class. So you see majority of the people, at least in India, we see the majority of the people are in the middle class zone. Let's assume the so sometimes like we may argue, no, we are in a lower class or, but with situation, the things are improving. Let's say ki we are in the middle class. Majority of the people we say we are in the middle class. Now, how this upper class and lower class people, they are looking into this middle class people. So unfortunately, again, when we categorize this upper class, lower class, and middle class, we categorize more based on the how much money he is having, right? Which is also wrong, but let's say we are now in a very general platform where people are discussing and trying to view something. So most of the time, majority of the people are thinking from the material point of view, right? So that is how the classification is done, like upper class, middle class, and lower class. And let's say this majority of the people are in the middle class. So now how this upper class and lower class, they are from their platform or from their viewpoint, they are seeing this middle class, right? So let's say if you see the upper class, so let's say we categorize like we say that Ambanis and the famous people, Tata Birlas, they are in the very higher class, right? So if they have to even live one day of this middle class, what will be their state of mind? They will think that this life is unbearable, right? They feel it is full of miseries because they are into that uh, you say they are into that facility, right? Because in upper class, for everything they have some or other thing. They are they are into such a comfort level that they view this middle class people as full of misery. What to talk about this lower class, right? So that is how it is. So here we are trying to see the state of mind, how the state of mind is defined, right? And similarly, if you see this lower class people who are, every day they are, how they are fighting, every day they are fighting for living, right? So when they look into this middle class, they feel, wow, what a comfort they are into. They are having two-wheeler, they are having some house, they are having food, they don't have to think for next day. Whereas this lower class people who don't have, good money or house, every day they are struggling. For them, see their state of mind here now. If they have to play or they have to live in the role of that middle class people, they will be very happy. Whereas for the upper class who are very affluent, if they come and stay in that middle class lifestyle, they feel it is full of misery. So that way you can see that actually this happiness and misery, what we define, it is actually a state of, it is actually a state of mind. So now when we come to this Krishna consciousness, so actually the whole purpose of why we are doing it is we are saying that we can conquer birth and death. So because our whole vision actually changes. So that is why it is saying people with equal vision conquer birth and death. So when you have this, so that is why you see this pure devotee, you put him in any condition. If he have good food, he will relish that. If he don't have any good prasadam, then also he is okay. Because they have reached into that equal state, equanimity, where mind is actually not comparing the things. The mind is not comparing the good and bad. Whatever you get, we think it as the arrangement of Krishna. And so that way they think nothing is good or bad, right? Whatever, because whenever we are commenting, we will see this in just in few minutes that whatever is given to us, whatever state we are, it is given by Krishna, right? Because even a blade of grass, when moving, it is by the wish of Krishna. We have learned this before, right? So, a person who is situated in that equal vision, he can conquer birth and death, right? So, this is very important statement. So, this complete shloka is revolving around that. Only when you have equal vision, you can conquer birth and death. So, but it is very easy to say than doing, right? So, it is not so easy. So, and then Srila Prabhupada is saying that they are already liberated, that their life, so within this life itself, they are liberated. One who is not bound by any material thing. So you see the source is everything, source of everything is foundation, right? We discussed this so many times. The everything is because of this foundation. And then because of this foundation, this mind start reacting. And then we start actually discussing whether we are in the mode of happiness or we are in the mode of goodness. So now another thing that it is discussed, many people. So we are talking about this general people. they ask one very common question. They say to these devotees that if you are chanting Hare Krishna and can go to Goloka, then why have you not gone yet? What you are doing here? You're all the time you are chanting 16 round, you are following all this regulative principle. Then what you are doing here? Why you are not actually going to Goloka? So one Maharaj replied on that, and in Shastras, everywhere you can see that. So even in Bhagavatam, mentioned that the Lord keeps the devotee here as long as there is preaching to do. So just think about it. Ki if there is no preaching, then how the poor soul, people who are in the three gunas, right? So not only your tamoguni or rajoguni, even the satogunis, how they will be delivered? They will remain here and they will be keep on suffering. So that is why the devotees are very important. And you see all the exalted Maharaj, all Acharyas, Goswamis, Srila Prabhupada, they focus so much on preaching. So preaching does not mean ki somebody, if he's holding this Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Bhava, or he's very knowledgeable in the four Vedas or Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Puran, only he can preach. Everybody should preach, right? Whoever is actually taking the benefit, whoever is attending the class of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Puran, they should make sure that not only they should take the advantage, they are lucky, that is why they are here, but they should also preach and they should try to deliver others. So you see that it is like that. So we were saying here that ki why devotees who is chanting 16 round, what he is doing here, why he cannot go to Goloka. So he's Lord, he is actually keeping him. He is keeping him to preach so that others can also get delivered. So it is just like one example is given ki when you catch a flight. So what happens when you catch a flight? So you go to the airport and you wait for the flight. So I remember one time I was actually going outside, and so from Bangalore I have to go to Chennai, and so evening somewhere 7 p.m. I was having flight, and another half hour or 40 minutes I reached Chennai. So actually my flight was there at night 12:30 from Chennai onwards, and so it got delayed. So it got delayed. Uh, so there was no information, but they were saying ki another 2 hours it will reach here. So it was coming from outside and it has to fly from Chennai to Germany. And so 12:30 they said ki another 2 hours you have to wait. So go to the launch and wait there. So whenever there is a delay in flight, they offer you launch where you can actually wait, take some rest, and then you. But that 12:30 night it become morning 5. So that much delay it was. So what happens is ki uh, you are provided a launch so that you don't have to suffer too much. And then when the flight comes, then you board it and you go to your destination. So in that process, what is happening here? A devotee who is chanting, who is following all the regulative principle, he has to wait for some time. And during that time, Lord is expecting him to preach, right? To preach to others. And when the time comes, the flight will come and he will go. He will fly and he will go. So to the question who, like people who ask this question, ki why you are also suffering here, why you are not going away, you are not going to the higher planet or to Goloka when you are a devotee. So answer to that is that ki it is Lord wish. So all the arrangement is Lord, ki you wait here for some time, you have to wait in that lounge and then you have, before moving for the further journey. So now for those who have not having any faith, the life is very difficult, right? Those who do not practice bhakti or devotion service, the suffering is so bad, right? So for a devotee, so who are actually provided a launch? So depending on your, so nowadays what happens is you are given some MasterCard or Visa card, right? That have the facility when you are flying, you are, if your flight is delayed, then you are provided with lounge. So people who don't do bhakti, they are not provided this launch. So what is this launch? Is launch is actually nothing but this bhakti, the practice of this bhakti, right? So who suffer basically? People who don't do bhakti. Their life is very hard. So now you imagine this. You are not provided at lunch and you are waiting there for 5 hours. So what you will do? You have to just somewhere lying down. Just a few days back, we were seeing some condition, right? In this Indigo condition, what happened? So all flights were cancelled, and people were actually lying down in the ground. Also, they were sleeping in the ground. So much of suffering. But people who are provided with lounge, so they have little comfort, right? So this bhakti is like that. You are provided with lounge where you have lot of it. The suffering. Basically, the whole point is if you don't have faith, you are not provided this launch. So life is going to be very difficult. So, but one who is serving the Lord in this life is already liberated. They are not caught by the gunas, basically the mode of material nature. We know that when you are caught up in these gunas, three gunas, the suffering is according to that. If you are tamasic, you have more suffering than but it doesn't mean that Rajoguna people who are in the Rajoguna or Satoguna, they must be in a better position, but they are also suffering. And that is how we see that why every person is suffering. So the only difference is for the devotees, the suffering is little less and more purer you become. So that is why we are doing all this association, we are doing the Krishna conscious, we are doing the Krishna conscious practice, we are chanting 16 round. Why? Because we need a launch, right? We need a comfortable launch. But then we say, say that if God exists, why there is a suffering? And now you see that you take this example of sun and moon. So what sun give and what moon gives? So the effect is like the cold effect, right? Or the light. So you see the suffering will be there, but whether a devotee is, see, whether this, let's say this light of sun, it is given to devotee as well as non-devotee, right? And it is given very equal quantity, right? It is not that sun will say oh, you are devotee, I will give my light to you. Moon will not say I will give my cold rays to you because you are a devotee. It is given and it is equal to everybody, whether it is a devotee and or non-devotee. So the suffering will be there, but it is less impactful for the devotees. But Lord never differentiate. Lord, for Lord, devotee, so this is we categorize, right? Devotee and non-devotees. But for Lord, everybody is equal. So at any state, and the intensity of our devotion actually decide whether how much we are actually suffering in this life. So there is one very true story which Bhakti Rasamit Maharaj he was giving in his class, and he shared one true incident. And in that story, he was mentioning that a devotee was traveling on a boat with his full family, and the boat was drawn, and the whole family actually died. And what happened? Only he survived. And then what happened? So this devotee start asking question within himself. Ki, I am chanting 16 round of mala from last 15 years. I never missed even a single day. But then why it happened to me? And then the next day onwards, there is a gap. He stopped chanting his rounds. He was not following any kind of principles. Whereas from last 15 years, not even a single day he missed his one round. So we have to remember that it is not exception. The devotee will not be, he is not going to suffer. The suffering will be there, right? The suffering will be there, but the intensity will be less or more. And then people can also ask this question. You take uh, Sri Haridas Thakur, how much he tolerated? So, anybody, any idea how many rounds Sri Haridas Thakur used to chant? Prabhuji's Matajis?
Above 100, Prabhuji, or more.
Yeah, close. 192 round. He used to,
192.
3,000.
yes, somewhere 192 round, some 3 lakh chants. So, when you see his life, there was so much suffering. So, it is, so we see it is a suffering, right? But actually, it was not suffering. That is why we say happiness and sorrow are simply state of mind. Why to talk about Haridas Thakur? You see our Guru Maharaj. When we see his life, there is so much, we feel that it is so much suffering. But actually, they are in the state of happiness. They don't care about these bodily sufferings. They are into that state. So that level, bhakti take you to that level. It will give you to that facility of that launch that we were discussing here. So we feel we are in a difficult situation, right? But actually, you see, Lord is not in that difficult situation. Lord is feeding everyone, even you see that smallest entity in this world, which we cannot even see, Lord is feeding him, right? He is not doing job, or he is not having a four-wheeler or private jet. And then we start feeling that how comfortable he is. Even in that smallest entity, he is surviving, right? Because Lord is actually feeding, and Lord is feeding everybody. So now we'll go to one very important point here. The question of hunger. right? Now you see that people are running after money. Now see this perspective. So people in Africa, we know that we have seen so much news that people in Africa, they are dying of malnutrition, right? So why is that? Why people, and you take America, what is happening in America? Actually, it is said that in America, the cultivation is so much, unlimited cultivation of food. There is no shortage of food. And every year, what happens? They throw food into the sea. That much cultivation they have. But whereas in Africa, it is totally opposite. People are dying with malnutrition. Now you may say, ki, just now we told ki even the smallest entity which we cannot see, Lord is taking care of that. He is not dying. But then why in Africa people are dying because of malnutrition, whereas in America it is so much of food that they are throwing food into the sea. So then is Lord is not looking after this? So what will be your answer to this? Projis Matajis, why in Africa only people are dying with malnutrition? What is the reason?
They are not Krishna consciousness. They are not Krishna conscious person over there.
So can we say that ki in America people are Krishna consciousness?
They're God fearing, Prabhuji. Over there, I mean,
Okay. Anybody else want to answer this?
Prabhuji, it's a difficult to answer because Krishna consciousness is not there in both the places. In fact, the rich and mighty in America are more arrogant, and they're probably they may be looking educated and all, but they may be in a deeper ignorant states. As far as production of grains are concerned, they are that's what Prabhupada once told, that you are all very lucky. You have the good physique, you have everything, you have good food, but you all that you need to do is divert your mind to Krishna. So some people, nobody is as lucky as they are born lucky. I think so. Maybe they are lucky to have been born in a place which is very fertile and they have excess of grains. But the same situation is not there in. It is made like
Okay.
that. It is nature. It's nature probably.
Okay. So yeah, Mataji, yeah. So now see this.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry.
Yes, Mataji.
Oh, sorry. Prabhu, actually, like in Prabhupada's books, it's always mentioned that we are very lucky to be have been born in India. And karma doesn't leave you. So where you're born, how you're born, where it will be, that you have to face it. So some are born in after poverty. You'll say someone is born with a silver spoon, one is born without food. He's born in the gutter. So the same principle holds here. Whether you're born in Africa, you're born in America. So the time place is very important. And then this is the example of a fan is also been given. Like, see, when the fan is rotating, and then, you say all good, bad people, we all are rotating, right? But when the fan is switched off, when you're chanting, all of a sudden it will not stop. When what happens, it very slowly rotates, and then then even after switching off, you see the fan is just rotating, and then it stops. So with the same thing with the devotee who is chanting, and a person whose karma is like this, I mean, it doesn't happen all of a sudden and it stops. Karma takes its time. Karma plays its vital role, and hence it is this. It will happen. Okay, if one person is hungry, one person is overfed, one is having abundance. You cannot fight you can't fight karma. And
Yes.
Krishna doesn't interfere.
Yes. Yes, Mataji. So Kalyani Mataji was telling that ki cultivation of the land. So one point here is in Africa, what is the land size of Africa compared to India? Is it more or less?
Many times more, Prabhuji.
Yeah, it may be probably three times more, roughly. So
Yes.
still they are they are shortage of food. So one very important point, everybody answered very correctly. One very important point is the karma, right? Now you see, Prabhupada was mentioning that ki Africa have so much of land, more than India, but still they have shortage of food. You know what they are cultivating? They are cultivating afim. They are cultivating all drugs. And why you think they are cultivating this drugs and afim? They can cultivate. See, even we cannot say. See, even Dubai, they were planting vegetables. So why can't Africa do that? They are cultivating affims. They are cultivating drugs because only one reason: people are running after money, right? If they cultivate afim and all those drugs, they can earn more money. So their focus is more cultivating those things. So these are all karma, right? And see in India, actually it is said that the plantation in India, actually Indian soil is not meant for tea plantation. But you see, still there some part where they can do the tea plantation. They left all other cultivation and they started doing tea plantation. Also, some part of India, they are cultivating only spices, cardamom and other spices. Can you name that state? They are cultivating all
Kerala.
those. Ah,
Kerala,
yes, Kerala.
Prabhuji.
You see, in Kerala, somebody from Kerala can correct me if I'm wrong. They are running after only cultivating these spices because all the spices are actually exported abroad. So they are cultivating that spices, and so that way what happens? There is a misbalance, right? Misbalance happens, and very certainly other kind of food like rice, wheat, and other things, the prices will go up. The imbalance will happen definitely. So that is what people are doing. You see why there is malnutrition in Africa now? Whereas in America, you see, there is so much of food, they throw it. So it doesn't actually mean that what they are doing is correct also. But it is all karma basically. So what important thing is, in this world, never hesitate to give it to the needy people. So one Maharaj was saying that people often think if they will give, then they will lack. Many people have this mentality. Ki if I give it, then I will have shortage, right? So he considered his by saying that we are. So let's say, okay, we'll one very important point will cover here. So we are breathing, right? What we are breathing? We are breathing air. So when we are breathing air, why there is no shortage of air? What is the reason? There is no shortage of air. Whereas food, we have shortage. Other things we have shortage. But air, there is no shortage. We are breathing air, there is no shortage.
Prabhuji, may I just add one point here?
Yes, yes,
Prabhuji,
please,
but
Mataji.
very soon because of the cutting down of trees and
Yes.
increasing levels of pollution, very soon we'll have
Yes.
to be buying oxygen. So we definitely there
Yes.
is a shortage. Any natural resource, it
Yes.
is if we don't utilize it and replenish the stores, we are
Yes.
going to end up in misery, Prabhuji. It's good. We are reaching that
Yes.
stage.
Actually, we bought a few years back. We have seen that we bought oxygen also, right? During pandemic,
Yes, Prabhuji.
people have, these companies. I don't remember the name of these companies, Bharat Oxygen and Linda Oxygen. These companies, they become billionaires and millionaires. They used to produce oxygen cylinders, and pandemic there was shortage of oxygen. Why? Um, because we know that if we breathe, then we get infected. But actually, you're right, Mataji. This there is a shortage of these trees, and because of that, the pollution is happening. But there will be no shortage of air. What I am saying, the quality definitely will because of our karma will spoil all this the way we have done during the pandemic. Definitely this will happen, but actually you see that there is no shortage of air. There is one reason. Can somebody tell what is the reason why there is no shortage of air and there will be no shortage of air?
Because the yagnas are done, Hare Krishna, in our
Yes,
land.
Mataji.
Because the yagnas are performed on our land, or
Mataji,
chanting of Hare
actually
Krishna.
if yagnas are done properly, then there will be no shortage of food also. Recently, I was seeing in YouTube's people are laughing when for pollution in Delhi, if somebody is doing yagna, and for shortage of rain or food, if somebody is doing yagna, some or you say Gen Z, what they call nowadays Gen Z, they are laughing. Actually, if yagnas are doing properly, there will be no shortage. But
Yes,
still,
even
yeah, Mataji, tell me.
even in Bihar, when that gas leak was there, some families survived only because they were doing yagnas in the house. They survived. They say, I don't know how far that is true, but
Yes.
during the gas leak, the many people died, but only few people survived because of the yagnas they were
So
doing regularly.
yeah, Mataji. So what you call as Gen Z generation, we are nowadays, they laugh at those things. But whereas Shastra says only we are not doing yagna because of that we are suffering. So uh, the point is like the question still not answered is why there is no shortage of air. So, ठीक all these things are a separate topic of yagna and all. But why there is a shortage of food, but there is no shortage of air?
Because there is space, Prabhuji. And that has to be
Okay.
that as big as the space is, that big will be the air capacity. I mean, as big as the space capacity of the space is, that much air will be there.
Okay, Mataji. So, okay, fine. So let me say this. Ki,
Prabhuji, grains are to be cultivated by human beings, and human being powers are very limited. Air is
correct.
given by God, and His limitation is unlimited, Prabhuji.
Acha, but Mataji, then you see these birds and animals, they are not cultivating anything, but they have no shortage of food.
That's the way the Lord has made the cycle of human beings, animals, and all that. Now, Prabhuji,
Yeah,
we
but
have to
yeah.
work. We have to work. Humans have to work for their
Yes.
living. Animals and birds, Prabhuji, they are like given this benediction by the Lord. They don't have to work and they can get their food.
Okay,
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
I have a
I mean, they
different.
work like they have to put in the effort to go and get the grain or their food, Prabhuji, but they don't have to cultivate it. The cultivation is done by the human beings.
Okay.
Prabhuji, I want to make a point here. We
Yes.
are thinking that the birds are happy, but they are not. They are getting extinct. We don't have the sparrows now because of erection of all these telephone towers. So
Yes.
they are not in a position to complain, but otherwise we are seeing, no, there are no crows, there are no sparrows.
Yes.
For lack of food and for lack of, they're not able to bear that vibration. They become extinct. So it is not that they're happy and they're what do you call living normally. We have killed them, finished.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is true, Mataji. So
Hare
that is
Krishna,
again because of
Prabhuji.
the human
Hare
being.
Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I think to more to all this, that we are talking about exploitation of nature, exploitation of this, that, it is because of man's greed for everything. A
Yes.
farmer that is growing, he is not contented with just growing 1 kg of organic rice. He is more contented with growing 10 kgs of chemical pesticide rice, isn't it?
Correct.
And
Correct.
anything
These
that we
are
do, we are
all
digging the
valid
earth.
points.
We are digging our earth to make more cars. We are
Yes.
greedy. We want more cars. We want
Yes.
more this, more that. It is more to do
Yes.
with
Yes.
greed than to do anything else. And
Yes.
with greed, I
Yes.
think it's there mentioned that our desire, our anger. So we have a lot of wars all around in Africa, in America, anywhere that you see. I think we have to read the Bhagavad Gita more deeply to understand this phenomena of problems that we exist in the earth actually today. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Sorry to
Yes.
intervene.
No. Very good points. So let me now come to. So all these are valid points. It's because of the human. So much suffering is always there. But now we'll come back to this. Why there is a shortage of food, but there is no shortage of air. So one key difference, if you try to find out here, is this. So tell me one thing. Food you can always preserve and store. Can you store air? I'm not talking about, putting into the oxygen cylinder and things like that. But you see
Prabhuji,
air.
they are all subtler aspects of the Panchabhutas. You cannot contain them.
Yes. So you see this air. What will happen if we will be able to store this air also? Now, artificially, we are creating the oxygen and things like that. That is a different thing. The nature given air, if just imagine if people have a ability to store that air, what will happen? All these people who are having lot of money or, powerful people, they will capture those air, and even the air, there will be shortage of air. So since a person cannot store, so we breathe it and we have to breathe out. We breathe in, we breathe out. So the human being, just imagine this human being. What is he? He cannot store something. That is why there is no shortage of that. Whereas you see this food or other things, he artificially store it into the go downs and artificially increase the price. Artificially, he create the shortage. And that is why there is a malnutrition and there is a suffering. So that is what it is happening. So everything boils down to one thing, ki money is very dangerous. But again, that doesn't mean ki, everybody may argue that ki without money, nothing happens. That is also very true. Without money nowadays, even a temple will not run if there is shortage of money. So money is also important, but the whole point is what we are actually running after money. We are started preserving it, storing it, and because of that consequences, what is happening today? The condition in Delhi, people are not able to breathe. The air index is so polluted. Why it is? So that is the thing. People are making different schemes to make big money, but they don't care whether the other person is suffering or not. So what will happen actually? Why? even though Africa can cultivate a lot of vegetables, there will be no shortage of food, but still there is shortage only because of that is why this is how the karma actually works. This is how the karma works. So there will be shortage. So as Kalyani Mataji was also mentioning, even birds and animals are not happy because we are taking up their lands. We are taking away the trees and forest. So in future, so we have also shown through pandemic that even the air will be a scarcity. Air will be there, but people cannot breathe. Then some company will come up with oxygen cylinder. That 1,000 rupees cylinder, they will say 1 lakh and they will sell it. So that is why this bhakti is so important. So the whole point we were discussing here about people with equal vision will conquer birth and death. So if we have this mindset, we will not suffer. So people who are doing this, they will suffer one day or other day. So not now. They're holding back thing created by nature, thinking that ki, oh, I have the power, I have the money, I can do anything. But they have to suffer one day. Even they will have the money, but they will lack other thing, which because of which they will suffer. Or in other birth, they have to face that poverty. So that is what is karma. If we'll play with the nature, one day the nature will hit us back. So people who see everything equal with equal vision, they will conquer birth and death cycle. So that is why it is very important कि if you get into that state, and that state comes only through Krishna consciousness. Without bhakti, you will not be able to see. See, now whenever we see a person, we start categorizing. If he is helping us, then he is a good person. If he is saying something against us, he is enemy for us. Even in 1 second, we make this decision. We don't see like that the way Lord sees, right? He sees everybody. That is why he is giving sun and moon light equally to a tamoguni or rajoguni or satoguni, whatever mode he is. He is giving everything equal. All the resources he is giving equal. It is the human being who is actually holding it back and making others suffer, but not realizing that the nature will hit him back. So we have to see, we have to have equal vision. Then only we'll be actually conquer this birth and death cycle, because then we'll be provided that launch till we are there in this Bharat. And then the flight will come and we'll go to our destination. So that is whole about today's sloka. So I think it is already 7:40. We'll end up here. Any question or anybody want to add anything?
Prabhuji, I think only Ramaraja is the ideal time where